From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
and this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin energy. The vitamins.
Energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, about time. Defense sparks Florida State to a 14-9 win. The offense running out of time. Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. Promo code Corey Clark, please.
Warchant BOGO.
Sounds so much better coming off one of them dubs. They're just as tasty as a dub, maybe even tastier after a 14-9 dub. Maybe not the most palatable one, but we're excited about it. You should be excited about Vitamin Energy. 260 milligrams, all natural caffeine, no sugar crash, vitamins, nutrients, aiding in all the things you need to be at your absolute best. VitaminEnergy.com. Again, that promo code WarChampBOGO. Noles behind this whole thing. We probably surpassed some anniversary of us partnering together, but they're awesome. Give it a shot. Literally, you'll enjoy it. VitaminEnergy.com. Warchant.com, Ultimate Seminole Sports Source, FSU 1. 2 months, $1. Come on home, everybody. We're in the thick of it, literally. Right there, smack dab in the middle of the ACC after a Saturday victory over Cal, ruining their welcome to the ACC. We never ruined the welcome of Corey Clark. Red carpet unfurled. Please walk across it, sir. How are you?
I'm great, buddy. I'm great. What a dub. What a dub. And that sounds sarcastic. It sort of is, but not really. That's a win for a program that desperately needed it. So feeling better today than any time kind of in the last 9 months.
Yeah, so we'll try to break this show up. You always try to have the Monday show a little bit produced, but then we always kind of veer off and talk about different things. So let's just focus on the positives for the first half of the show. You folks can detect, I guess, whether or not there's more positives or negatives.
I'd also like to point out, Aslan, this is by far, this sets a record by hours of the earliest we've recorded a podcast after a Saturday game, right?
Well, yeah, I was about to say, depends on, I'll never forget the game in New Orleans, but that was what, a Sunday night?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that was a Sunday night going into Labor Day,
man.
I think.
I was up till past 3 a.m. putting that show together. I'll never forget that.
Yeah. So, but I'm saying we recorded late that night.
Right.
Yeah,
we're
recording like 11:30 in the morning on Sunday, and I just want people to know what kind of partner I am. Aslan's got his girlfriend coming into town.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have to bog him down by like, hey, it's 4:30 or it's 6 o'clock. Let's go record.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's knock this thing out. Then Daddy can go watch some NFL games at 1, see if the Browns can win. The Falcons play Sunday night, and in the middle, Aslan can go on a date and have a good time with his girl.
Best co-host in the game, Corey Clark. Everybody,
Hey
appreciate
man,
that.
hey, I don't like to pat myself on the back, but I'm glad you said it, Aslan. Thank you.
All right, let's pat Florida State on the back. Let's start off obviously with the positives. Listen, I've been wrong about maybe the importance of linebacker play. I think some of you folks oversell the importance of linebacker play. I probably undersell the importance of linebacker play. My whole thing is always hinged on, Corey, that if you just got some nasty dudes up front, that'll really help alleviate any kind of concerns you have at the middle level, especially if you got good guys on the back end being able to cover. To see Joshua Farmer first and foremost, I mean, he clearly was, I think you called it Fiskian in the Vitamin Energy Warchant rap with Irish Ofel, but for Joshua Farmer to do what he did, and man, I got to look at the snap counts to see how many times he came off the field because I don't think he did, but to see him, Marvin Jones Jr., I think Darrell Jackson might have had a play or two in there. Daniel Lyons was a factor. Grady Kelly seemed to have a little bit more, I think, reps. If those guys can build off of that, that makes you feel really good about things moving forward. But I guess let's just celebrate what they did on Saturday night first.
Yeah, Farmer was basically unblockable. I don't know how many people saw it in the game, but late, I think it was their second to last drive of the fourth quarter. Maybe it was the last drive, but I really think it was the second to last drive. The Cal right guard in between plays, there was some holdup maybe I don't remember what it was. Maybe a timeout had been called or there's 2-minute warning. I can't remember. 2-minute timeout, I'm sorry.
Correct.
But the right guard just puked on the ground right in front of right in front of Joshua Farmer. Puked right in front of him. Which it was hot, and he's from Northern California. He's probably not used to that kind of warmth, and it was a long game. It was a physical game. And he also was going up against, in that moment, for those 3 hours, one of the best defensive linemen in the country, man. Josh Farmer dominated. He was good last week. He was great on Saturday night. I think he ended up playing 50 snaps. Correct. Is what it looks like here. Yeah. Graded out really high, as you can imagine. I think had 3.5 tackles for loss, which is a huge number for a defensive tackle.
7 total pressures.
That's crazy, man. That's a huge number for for an interior defensive lineman, and that's kind of what we thought we'd be seeing the whole season. Again, I don't know that we can emphasize like when you're look, they were not coached well, schemed up well, coordinated well, and they did not play well those first 2 weeks. But when you're playing guys that move around like that, it kind of changes the way you rush maybe. But these last 2 weeks playing guys that aren't nearly as mobile, you see what this defensive line can be overall, I think. I mean, they kind of pinned their ears back and went. And it was good to see because they won the game. That's what we've been expecting from them. Marvin Jones still has some issues, sure. But late in the game, man, he was making enormous plays. He should have almost won the game with the strip sack, but they couldn't recover it because why would Florida State recover a fumble? But then they won the game a couple plays later. But those are huge, enormous plays by a guy that's never done it before. That's good to see. It is what you hope, something to build on, but it's also at least some justification of like, yeah, this is kind of what we thought the ceiling would be. This is what it was supposed to look like. It is in there.
Yeah.
Now let's see if they can keep it going, but it is in there, which was really good to see. But that defense, had some moments make you shake your head, but overall, man, how are you going to argue with you didn't give up a touchdown? You've given up 2 touchdowns in the last 2 games total, and out of like probably 25 drives, you gave up 9 points. And you won a game with 14 points, Aslan.
Yeah.
That's how good the defense was on Saturday night.
Covered and only scored.
It was an easy cover.
Yeah.
It's an easy cover for the Noles.
Also, I don't know why I said Grady Kelly. He did not have a good game. I don't know why that came out of my mouth. Patrick Payton was the other guy on the defensive line I meant to give props to. But yeah, man, out of Marvin Jones Jr., he had 30 pass rush snaps. Farmer had 34 pass rush snaps. Farmer, again, 7 total pressures. Marvin Jones, on 4 less snaps, had 6 pressures, so just 1 less than what Joshua Farmer had. Obviously different positions, but just the amount of production you got from those guys up front was really encouraging to see. And again, I don't know just how good or bad a lot of these teams are that Florida State has played. I feel like Boston College is pretty solid, although I don't know, did they beat Michigan State or did Michigan State get the best of them?
No, they won.
Okay, good. But, like, I don't know moving forward. I don't want to go too ahead of things after we still got a lot to talk about this game. But I just think, like, Cal's got some legitimate skill players. And that quarterback's pretty good. That offensive line, not all that great. So, but to hold them to 14 points, it's not just holding anybody in this day and age to 14 points, 9 points is incredible, and holding them out of the end zone. But that's a team that's got some offensive players that are pretty darn solid that I think would be able to probably etch a spot or nudge their way into the rotation for Florida State. So I don't want to undersell what the defense did, despite those. I don't know, man. Like the kid converted a 2nd and 25 on a really nice throw and catch, and they had some conversions that really left you frustrated. But I don't know, it just seemed like they made some good plays, and I know it's hard to give another team credit, especially when you're 0-3. But that's what it felt like to me. It didn't feel so much like lapses or bad communication stuff again. Corey, just felt like they just struck on some plays, and unfortunate, inopportune times for Florida State.
Yeah, I think that's what I was kind of thinking too when I was walking out of the stadium. Was like, yeah, the defense gave up some chunk plays, but it wasn't as if guys were running free. And I say that a lot, but it's the truth. I mean, I thought like, especially in the first couple weeks, and it was the first couple weeks a few seasons ago, where it was like guys were just running free down the field. These were earned. Like, I don't know his name, number 13 for them. I think it was 13.
Isaiah Hunter, man.
What a great catch.
Unbelievable.
Like a great catch. And Ira was next to me going, of course. Ira's turned into the cynic, by the way. He's more of a cynic than I am, but he's like, yeah, of course he makes that play. But it's a great catch. You're right. I think Shaheem's in coverage. It's a good throw. Shaheem's back is to the play. He's probably a step behind, maybe. And the guy leaps up and makes probably the catch of his life. The throw the kid made on when the ball was at their own 1-inch line on 3rd down, and I couldn't believe they even threw it.
And
he rolls to the right and throws like a 28-yard pass to the right sideline. I mean, look, you'd like to get him on the ground, and you'd like the quarterback on the ground right there, and you'd like to not give him like that kind of a clean look, but that's still a really good throw. Like, so the point being, this defense isn't unblockable. It's not a brick wall. But at least in that game, because I think Cal ended up having 400 yards, most of it in the air, some of it on just like a couple of huge chunk plays where it felt like you were kind of in pretty good position and they just went and made a play. And that happens. That running back is good. The quarterback, I think, is pretty good. Yeah. But when it mattered, you rattled him. And he was looking at the rush, and he didn't even give a throw off on the last 2 downs. I don't think. Maybe he threw one away on third down.
Ate it. I think he ate both. Of them.
But yeah, the defensive pressure was overwhelming on the last drive, and even like the 4th and 13 when they convert by half a yard. That's not terrible coverage. And what I liked about that was so they convert that 4th down, and then I think the next 4th down they get is the same situation. It's 4th and 13, and Adam Fuller brought 6. He's like, no, I brought 4 last time. We didn't get home, and he completed it. I'm going to make him make a decision quickly, and then Edwin Joseph wraps up the game with a sack. So, man, that's that. And Edwin Joseph thought when we asked him after the game, because I think he said he's played receiver most of his life, so he's not used to blitzing much. He doesn't know. He's not. I don't think he said he was all that. He's not comfortable doing it. He just hasn't done it much in his life, and he thought he'd be blocked coming off the edge, but he wasn't. He kind of ran free. Well, the reason he wasn't blocked is because of those horses on the defensive line that gets all the attention. So he did come free because they're scared to death of 7 and 11 and 5 and 6. Maybe, I don't know if 6 was in there at the time, but 95, whoever was in there, they're really worried because they've been getting crushed by them all game, and that allows 33 to come free on a blitz and wrap up the game. So, yeah, man, the defense, great. And also not just the points, not just the production, 9 points, no touchdowns. But the physicality, man, again, the rallying up to the football, the swarming the football. There felt like there were more gang tackles in this game than there had been all season. Mm-hmm. That's great to see. Specifically, I remember a play they threw a swing pass to Ott. Again, very good player. Blake Nicholson's getting blocked, fights through it, gets there, and as he gets there, there's 3 or 4 other guys that swarm at the same time. Guys that trailed the play from the defensive line that are swarming and attacking. Patrick Payton, he got a little grief for some plays last week, even though I thought he played well overall. Man, he was everywhere. Dude was everywhere. Good. Play hard. Play hard, man. It helps you. Your sole goal, and this isn't just to Patrick Payton, it's all of them. Your main goal in your life right now, I assume, other than to graduate, sure, is to be in the NFL one day. Man, if you're a fringe, like 3rd-round pick, that makes you a 2nd-round pick. That kind of hustle and effort. If you're a fringe 7th-round pick, that makes you a draft pick when you show that kind of effort. And Josh Farmer, if he keeps playing like this, will be a 1st or 2nd day pick. Like that was that's the guy we thought we were going to see. He was the star of the game, I thought, but Patrick Payton was close. Patrick Payton was all over the field and ended up, I think, with 3 sacks, including the play of the game.
That
really,
shoestring tackle.
The shoestring.
Huh? Oh man.
So if the people didn't watch it really closely or didn't watch the replay, Azaria Thomas is coming on a blitz. I think it's Azaria. Someone's coming off the edge. He gets kicked out wide, and there's nobody else on that side of the field. There's nothing on that side of the field but green grass. Patrick Payton on, let's see, I'm going to guess that was his 48th snap of the game, late in the 4th quarter. He dives all out and trips the kid up, or it's a walk-in touchdown. Those are the game of inches, man. Jimbo Fisher said it, right, Aslan?
Absolutely.
But that goes to the credit of Payton. Like, he'd already had a good game, man. He'd already played well. That's a really hard tackle to make, and it's all-out effort to dive just to trip a kid up. And he did it, and he tripped the kid up, and they won the game because of it.
Not a panderer, not my brand. Not saying that it is anybody's brand.
Is it my brand? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay, good. Thank you.
That wasn't my implication. But just this fan base has been hungry for something positive for a while now, Corey. Not to be too overdramatic. I mean, listen, they won an ACC championship last year. They won their first 13 games. We realized what happened in the bowl game and subsequent events after that, but it hasn't been like a full year of misery or anything like that. And listen, a lot of it was the offseason, so it wasn't like we were really taking hits and losing in July and May and things like that. But for that crowd to – man, the shriek from the crowd on any big play that Florida State made on Saturday night was like remarkable to me. Not only because you're 0-3 and a lot of your goals are kind of well out of reach, it seems, but just to be at like 51,000, whatever they have it listed as for the capacity, and people are start filtering out, which, not criticizing it, I'm paid handsomely to be at these games. Sometimes I don't even go to the games, Corey. Sometimes I watch them from home.
Yeah.
It's incredible. But they obviously made an impact, especially on that drive, although I don't think they got out of the shot of their end zone, I think, when they kept getting false start after false start because the crowd was really pumped up. And I think that really did rile that Cal offensive line. I don't think it's necessarily, again, I don't think it's a great offensive line, especially when they lost their starting right guard. Their pass protection really became leaky, but I think that crowd, I don't know if they were worth the 5 points in the margin of victory, man, but they certainly aided in it. I can't imagine if that game was played in Berkeley that the result would have held the same.
Oh, no. You know Berkeley is a death trap walking into that stadium.
Memorial
But, yeah,
Stadium,
no,
buddy, yeah.
I do think the crowd I wrote about it. That was kind of the lead to my column because I was like, I can't write about the offense again, even in a win. And the defense was great. It's awesome. They're still 1-3. And I thought, to me, the most meaningful aspect of the entire game is what you just talked about. Like, it's not just a fan base that's seen 3 straight losses. It's also the 3rd straight home game. Oh, yeah. Those are hard. That could be hard to come back for 3 games in a row. It's a Saturday night, great. It's also it's California. It's not like you're playing a big boy, a blue blood. So for the fact that the crowd was in the game the entire time, they really were. And I know some students left at halftime. Great. I mean, they were there for the first half, and I get it. It's a Saturday night, and we're all watching that offense. I get it. Life's too short. 19-year-olds know that better than anyone, apparently. But I think when you watch it on TV or if you're in the game, it was electric. I wrote about it. It felt like at times, like you talked about those shrieks, it felt like a Miami game, which again it wasn't. And you can say, oh, that's kind of sad that they're getting this excited over a potential win against Cal. But I think it's just awesome what it says about this fan base. That they still showed up. They were loud. They were really impactful, and when the game was on the line, they were they kind of rattled that whole Cal offense. I thought that the Cal Bears don't face stuff like that.
No.
They just don't. That's not something that the Cal football team has ever really had to endure that much. A night crowd like that in a football stadium at a football school, a desperate football school, and in front of a desperate program, a desperate fan base that desperately needed a win. And that's what they felt it, and that was just really cool to see. It kind of reminds you of how and why this place is so special, and how that stadium can really be special when the team is good. Because that was something. That was insane, honestly. Like I was more than pleasantly surprised. I was almost shocked how into the game the crowd was, kind of from the jump.
All right, one positive thing else. I didn't want to include this in the stuff that we'll quibble over, which is going to be the offense. But Lawrence Toafili, I thought, especially that first half, and golly, I wish they would have just stuck with him, Corey. The rotating of players, the rotations, these substitution packages, these personnel packages they have, it almost feels counterintuitive to what they need to do, which is just identify guys they can trust and just feed them until, not the wheels come off, but I mean, there's no need for Lawrence Toafili to have a huge gaping hole open up, and he trips up shy of it, but he saw it, he was going for it, and then you pull him out of the game, and you bring a new running back in. But I thought Toafili, the way at least he ran early, gave some kind of life to that offense, and I don't know, moving forward, maybe we'll get some more snaps going to 9, because I thought the way he ran, and listen, he averaged a little under 5 yards a carry, so it wasn't, maybe it's relatively speaking, but I just thought Lawrence ran really hard, and that was awesome to see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what he ended up with, like 80 yards, 75 yards.
80,
by far the high for a running back this season. And I thought the running game overall was better. Look, I think Cam Davis is going to be a good player. I do. He's a true freshman. He's getting in my opinion, he's getting as little out of some of these runs as possible. Yeah. He's not making any extra yards. If there's 4 yards to gain, he's getting 4, maybe 4.5. If there's 2 yards to gain, it's 2. If there's 8, he's getting 8 or 7. So he needs to, and it'll happen, it's experience, but he needs to start earning these carries on Saturdays by making people miss and running over people and turning a 5-yard gain into a 21-yard gain. That happens all across the country. I thought Toafili did that a little bit on Saturday. He hits the hole a little harder. He gets more out of the yards that are expected, I would think, on some of these runs. And yeah, I don't know that he's 100%. It's kind of sounded like that with the way Norvell was talking in the post game. Yeah. So he kind of had to gut it out. Is kind of I think how Norvell phrased it in the post game on Saturday night. So I don't know how 100% Toafili is, but man, again, yeah, he looked good. It's kind of bizarre unless it's an injury thing. it's kind of bizarre that he's been so
Limited?
unimportant
Oh, yeah.
in the first 3 games and uninvolved because he and Ja'Kai are the 2 guys that have been doing it for this program for years. Again, they're not stars, but they've been kind of stars as role players. They've starred in their role. And those guys, I think, are guys you can depend on that do go and make plays for the most part. And they've kind of disappeared for long chunks so far this season. And it's good to see both of them have huge games. Your fifth-year guys, the guys that have been here the whole time, the guys that have made more than anybody else on that field, on offense anyway, huge plays for this program, get rewarded on Saturday night with two touchdowns. And, yeah, Toafili looked good. Again, I thought the running game looked good early. But it's just it's lipstick on a pig, whatever, man. They still ended up with 108 yards. Now, I think they lost
25 on the Noles.
That's crazy, Mike. Mike, what are you doing? Like, I get the win is more important, but it'd be nice to so they would have had like 130 yards rushing, 140?
Yeah, something.
And they end up with 108 or something, 109?
Oh, actually, let me hit the refresh button on the stats. So they had the number, they were 132nd in the country in rushing. Here we go. Let's hit the refresh button. They're now 130th.
Let's go. You know what we call that, Aslan?
Climbing?
A climb.
Yeah.
It's a climb. They're climbing out of the basement. They're up to 130, gang.
There we go.
They're up to 130. Yeah, they've got, what have they run for now? 280 yards all season? What is it? Did you see it?
No, it just has the average. Their average.
What's the average?
65.8.
All right, so yeah, 267, 270 yards. That's incredible. Whatever. But hey, it's a win. It's a win. And Toafili did look good. I thought the offensive line looked good. They can't get every yard for you.
Look better.
Sorry, you're correct. That's what I meant to say. They looked better. They looked good early.
Yeah.
Overall, I thought they looked better. There were some running lanes, some legitimate running lanes to run through, and yeah, you hit a couple.
Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, Tallahassee, Florida, cptallybar.com, the website, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Shout out to everybody who came out to the meet and greet again on Friday. That was super cool. Was his name Vince, Corey? Young gentleman, very enthusiastic. He was there with his girlfriend, I think his girlfriend's father, whose name was Michael.
It might have been, it's either Vince or Travis. I was thinking
Okay.
Travis, but I might be wrong. You're right, it might be Vince.
Whoever he is, super excited to be at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill to see Corey, Lesser and myself, but we appreciate everybody that came out. It's always good to see you folks. Is Corner Pocket like an official, unofficial NFL sports bar for like Steeler Nation or anything, Corey? Like if you show up there on a Sunday for games, like will you be mobbed by a throng of Jags fans or anything?
That's the beauty of it is they really do. I mean, I know I'm always selling the wares of Corner Pocket and how awesome it is, but they do a great job. So Sunday, there's 8 early games. Each TV of the Vegas wall that they have is a different game. So they usually put over the loudspeaker whatever the in-state team is that's playing. So it'll I'm sure it was the Bucks on Sunday, but every game gets equal play. So no, it's a beauty because it's like across the board. It's a smorgasbord of NFL fans coming to watch their team. Like Stephanie's there watching the Browns. There's Dolphins fans. There's Jags fans. There's Chiefs fans. Falcons. Lions. It's across the board, man. That's what's because who wants to walk into a Steeler bar?
Yeah, I know. Right?
Yuck. What is up with that, by the way?
Hey.
What is up? Oh, this is a Corner Pocket read. I'm sorry. Yeah, it is not. Let me just say this as a selling point. It is not Steeler Nation when you walk in on a Sunday afternoon for an NFL Sunday. It's not just Pittsburgh fans everywhere or Eagles fans everywhere. Thank heavens.
Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Well, man, that was a slog. We went about 20 minutes being positive, Corey.
Yeah.
I know if I put like some maybe like thundering and lightning sound effects under this as we transition to some of the things that need to be improved for this team. I guess it starts at the offense because we were very high on the defense. So, yeah, let's turn to the offense then. 14 points. So they did do a little bit of a climb. That was better than last week against Memphis. Don't have to talk about the fact that Navy, our fine naval academy, put over half 100 on them, but I digress. So they got outgained 410 to 284. They did hit the over on first downs, by the way, Corey. Shout out to Billy Flynn. He won the over-under again. Might need to disqualify you from future over-unders, but they got 17 first downs, 7 of 17 on third down. but again, they averaged 4.2 yards per play. Some of that came down because of the kneeling at the end of the game, but they gave you some hope there. What was the second drive of the game where they scored their first touchdown in the first quarter? We're like, all right, man, watch out. Here we go. But then they went quiet until the fourth quarter. They won. We get it. But I don't know, Corey. It just seems like reading the boards, especially right after the game, like there was not a lot of celebration or a lot of sighs of relief. There was a lot of just kind of, I guess, anxiety for what's to come because this offense. I guess now after 4 games, like at a certain point, I guess we have to kind of make peace with what they are, who they are, and just how far they can go from here to improve.
I guess. I get it. Like Stephanie told me because I wasn't there. She went back to the tailgate after the game, and like there were 3 or 4 people, friends of ours, that were complaining about what they saw. And she's like, hey, for 30 minutes, no complaining. They just won. Embrace the win. It's been a long time since you got to enjoy a win, and they laughed, and I'm sure they went right back to complaining. But I get it, man. Like it was awesome in the moment to win. The defense rose up. And then you see, okay, that actually might be a good defense. Not a great, not historic, but a good defense. It's been pretty good, really, since the second quarter of the Boston College game. It's given up 3 touchdowns in, 30 drives. It's been pretty good. And you still lost 2 of those games. And you barely won this one because your offense is anemic, impotent, an abomination, all the words you want to use. Choose your adjectives or choose your descriptors. I don't know how a coach that is as good as Mike Norvell, and I do think Mike Norvell is a good coach, and a guy that is led so many touchdown drives in his life, called so many good plays, won so many games, can continue to do this. It's like I just don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Well, I don't because it's not like it's a guarantee you make the switch that all of a sudden everything opens up. But I mean, enough with the RPOs, man. It ain't working. Like there's a play, Tom Lang, if you go to his Twitter feed, I think his point that he's making, he freeze frames a play. And, the RPO, folks, if you don't know, DJ has the option to pull the ball and run or pull the ball and throw it out wide to a receiver they're blocking for him on the perimeter or running back, whoever's out there that's the
It's 3 on 2. It's 3 on 2. He's got.
So the Tom Lang, do you see the Tom Lang tweet I'm talking about?
Yep.
So he hands that ball off, right?
Yes.
What? Tell people what you see in that picture.
I mean, it's 3 on 2 to the boundary. I don't know who the receivers are, but one of them looks big. I think it's going to be a swing pass of probably Jaylen Brown. And he's got 2 guys that are going to be able to block the 2 defenders, and he's going to be able to, use his God-given speed and athleticism to at least get a first down. And
instead, I think that carry lost yardage. And so, let's say that even Jaylen Brown gets the least out of that, which might be 6 yards. It's 2nd and 4 instead of 2nd and 13, or whatever. I don't know what the play down was.
Maybe it was 1st and 10.
Yeah, so it's 2nd and 4, or maybe it's a first down, maybe it's a touchdown, maybe somebody actually makes a play. But instead he does, and it's just over. And even when he does throw it out wide on an RPO, because there was a play early in the half where. They had 2 blockers, and the 2 blockers did exactly what they were supposed to do. They were blocking. They were holding their guys up. And then the defender, the safety over the top, because the ball takes forever to get to the receiver over there because DJ doesn't whip it quick like Mahomes. He kind of telegraphs everything. The defender, the safety, just pulls the pin and runs straight at him, and he tackles him for a 5-yard loss, and the receivers were actually blocking. The RPO is a horror show. Nothing about it is working. Nothing about it is working. And if you're going to continue to be so RPO dominant and heavy, you can't do it with this kid. I shouldn't say that. You apparently will continue to do it with this kid and continue to have a laughing stock of an offense. And so now we had the fun part, the good part of the show, and we did praise. This is an absolute embarrassment. You are 4 games into the season, and you've scored less points than James Madison scored Saturday. You've literally scored. You've scored 4 points more than Navy scored against Memphis on Saturday. And so, I just don't understand how somebody that's as competitive as Norvell, that I think is a good offensive mind, can continue to produce like this. And I know that he's not okay with it. I know that he's not happy with it. Well, then fix it. or at least show that you're trying. You're just banging your head into a wall over and over again and expecting the wall to crack, I guess. But no, instead your skull is cracking and nothing is changing, and that's what's so frustrating. And what's so – they did look good, Aslan. That second drive of the game was good. Really good. Probably the best drive of the year, and then they were having another good drive on their third drive of the game. And I think if they don't call, I thought it was honestly kind of a questionable hold on Ferguson because I thought he kind of choke slammed him.
He did. Yeah.
But he did it with his left hand, and that kid's 170 pounds, and Ferguson's strong. He didn't hold him necessarily, right? They called a hold.
No.
They didn't call him for a choke slam. He kind of just took his hand and pushed the kid into the ground with it. But he gets called for a hold. So instead of first and goal at the 1, it's now, second 20 from the 30. And then it's 3rd and 15 from the 25-yard line. You know what your offense is. You know who this quarterback is. Why are you just having him throw the ball?
Yeah.
What? Why? Run a draw, man. Get up 10-0. What offense are you coaching, man? Coach to your team. Don't have that kid just throw an awful. And I know you could say, well, he's played a lot of football. He's not usually a turnover machine. He should know better than that. All that's true as well.
And he was open, man. That was an inaccurate throw. Like that went right to the.
I also thought it was late.
Yeah.
But most of his throws are late.
Yeah.
So, but why put yourself in that position?
Yes.
You really,
Well, yeah.
Get some points. Feel good about 2 straight scoring drives. Instead, he throws a horrible interception, and then you don't score again for literally 2 hours of real time because your offense sucks. And when it does something poorly, it just mushrooms or implodes. I don't know. It either goes up or down badly. But it's gross and it's unacceptable. Frankly, it's unacceptable. Great win, but if if you just had an average offense right now, just an average one, you'd be 3-1. We can rule out the Georgia Tech game, I guess, if you want.
Boston College, I feel like.
I don't know, man. But you scored 1 touchdown against Boston College, and you gave them a touchdown with another horrible interception when they got the ball at your 5.
Well, because you made a really silly decision to go for it too.
Sure,
well,
right, but you did. So, I think if the offense, I don't know what is
Boston
the average.
College led wire to wire is all I'm really trying to say.
Oh yeah, I got you. But they led wire to wire because your offense is terrible.
Yes, true.
And also you can't throw a touchdown to a guy wide open in the corner. But are you on that stats page still? Can
Sure,
you look at scoring offense? Go to number 67 in the country. That's straight down the middle. Okay. And what are they averaging?
Oh, I'm at rush. How do I get there? I'm nervous. You put me on the spot.
I did put you on the spot. I'm sorry, Aslan. You do what I say. Look it up, Aslan.
Scoring offense, and we want to go to who's number
67.
67. That would be FIU. They're averaging 30.3 points per game.
If this team was averaging 30.3 points per game, I know it's how averages work. It doesn't mean they've scored 30 in every game. But if they'd scored 30 in every game, they'd be flipping 4-0. But they've scored under 20. They've scored 21 or under in every game. They have not scored more than 2 touchdowns in a game, and they're averaging exactly half that. They're averaging 15 points. Where are they, Aslan, in points per game? Are they last? They're averaging 15 a game.
Scoring offense is 126th.
Jesus. Sorry, don't mean to take.
On a Sunday as we record this quarter.
Yeah, it's my fault. They're at 120.
Only New Mexico State, UTEP, Houston, Wyoming Air Force, Kent State, and Miami of Ohio are worse.
So that's what you'd like to figure out. Like he tells these players, and and they buy in. I think they really do. Keep working, keep playing hard. It's all about the response. Show up every day, work, continue to get better. Well, at some point, man, you've got to make your offense better. I literally don't care if Deuce Spann is taking all the snaps. At least it would be more exciting. This is preposterous how bad it is. That last drive of the game, after a really great drive, Ja'Kai Douglas, the man of the hour, goes and makes that great catch on 3rd down, and then goes and gets free, and that's a beautiful throw by DJ. An unbelievable throw. You guys don't understand how that ain't a 6'5" guy he's throwing to. Mm-hmm. You have to drop that right into a bucket for a guy that's 5'9" or 5'10", and that's just a perfect throw. It is a great throw. But then their drive when they get that first stop, when the kid misses the field goal and they get the ball with 6 minutes left, it's putrid. You knew they weren't going to run out the clock. But come on, man. A run for no yards. DJ takes a sack because, of course, and then a throw 8 yards out of bounds. And then you punt it right back to Cal. So the offense is abysmal. The offense is unforgivable at this point. Fix it. Do something. Change something, please. Show your fans that you're trying to change something. Show your fans you're not happy with this. Is it all DJ's fault? Of course not. But try something different. No Wildcat?
Yeah, under on that 19.5.
Yeah, right. I'm going to make that. I don't know how I could make it lower now at this point. No Wildcat, no Brock Glenn at all. The running game after a good opening drive was just average again. And, you don't. There's got to be something that's. And it's not just the RPO is bad and he can't move. I don't think he lets it rip a lot. I don't think he sees it quickly enough. It's hard to know. Maybe these guys aren't open at all. At this point, I don't care. Throw the ball to them. Take the drop, back up your 2 steps, plant and throw. Because when he doesn't throw it right away, like the throw to Benson, I know he missed it, but an 80-yard touchdown. He rolled to his left a little bit, planted, and let it rip. The same thing with Douglas. Let it rip. When he takes a step, plants, and there's nothing open right away, or his first, and he's not going to throw it right away, you can chalk it up to a horrible play almost 90% of the time. And again, I know I'm complaining after a win. They have the 128th scoring offense in the country, and they have not played a murderer's row of defenses. We just saw what Memphis is. You see what Georgia Tech people are doing to Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech's a good team, a decent team. They're a bowl team. All these teams are bowl teams, probably.
Yeah.
Well, they all are. They're all going to win 6, 7, 8 games. Heck, Boston College might win the ACC. But this offense is it can't keep going like this. It can't. Give yourself a chance to win some games. You don't have to hold the team without a touchdown because that's not realistic. SMU just scored 66. You're not holding them to 9 points. Clemson was up on NC State 42-0 before I turned the game on. You saw what Miami did on the road against a pretty tough team. Like, there are teams coming on this schedule that if you only score 14 points, you are going to lose by 3 or 4 touchdowns. You are going to get humiliated. So figure it out, man. It can't be this hard. It just can't be. And now I'm done. Aslan, you talk.
DJ attempted 3 passes that were 20 or more yards down the field. He was 1 of 3 on those.
That was almost a big one, though.
Yeah, that was. He was 10 of 11 on throws 9 or less yards. So maybe that's just got to just dinking and dunking.
That's not what he was brought here for.
No, I know.
Anybody can dink and dunk.
That's what I was trying to say, because I know you were hoping like they were going to take shots downfield, like two and a quarter almost.
Yeah,
like 2 per quarter, just take huge shots down the field. But maybe it's because they're not possessing the ball nearly as much as they thought they were going to. They're not able to move the ball and sustain drives to have those opportunities. But the passing offense at this point. I mean, I don't know what we're going to do. The running game feels like there's not a lot of. You got your offensive line that you're going to roll out there. You have the running backs that you have, but the passing game feels like you got another option out there that you can try, and I'm not sure why they're not going to try it. And how much?
But I also think that's also that's a part of the running option. Like that changes things if you got a mobile quarterback. It just does. So we see it all over the country, man. I saw it. I know Navy runs a bit of a different offense. Their offense actually finds the end zone. But their quarterback, I don't know what he ran for, but I'm going to guess 300 yards. They had a mobile quarterback that Memphis couldn't keep up with. Wore number 11, by the way. White kid wearing number 11. Just throwing that out there, Mike.
Try to look it up for you real quick here. Their quarterback ran for 211 yards on 12 carries for 4 touchdowns.
How about that? What? Pretty mobile kid, too.
Yeah. Blake Horvath. Yeah, stand up. I think I picked Cal to win 17-14.
You were right there.
Yeah, so I'm like, all right, Cal's going to go down here. They're going to score a touchdown. They're going to go for 2, and I'm going to call it, and then I can take a victory lap, which I don't want to take. I want to be wrong on those. I'm going to probably keep picking against Florida State, by the way, everybody. So
that's smart.
Yeah. I guess we'll just keep the juju going.
And you should keep coming to the games.
Yeah. But like I don't know. Like, how do you, if you're Norvell, how do you look at that? Where it's, if your defense doesn't rise up and tap into whatever they had in Charlotte in December of 2023, you probably lose that game. Or if that kicker makes the first field goal, that last drive for Cal is just all about getting into field goal range for that kid. I mean, they kind of, I'm sure they would have adjusted their play calling in that last drive, and they would have won the game 15-14 and been on a plane and been happy.
There is a chance, though, if we play that game, if he makes that field goal, maybe Mike is a little less conservative in that drive when he lays a 2-point lead.
Fair, correct.
Maybe,
yeah, that's fair.
maybe that changes some of the. But I mean, what does that matter?
Yeah.
Any chance they're going to run out 6 minutes?
Right. Well, it's like, the whole quote is like, character is what you do when no one's watching. I feel like you just won a game, so you can take a sigh of relief almost, and be like, all right, we're seeing it change. Obviously, the result is going our way. We lost big, we lost small, now we're winning small. Now we're back on the Bobby Bowden treadmill to success. But you have to look at that tape. And again, like, it's a screenshot that Tom showed. I'm sure there's plenty more examples, but that's 4 games, and to your point, like, you're going up against teams now that I think have, I don't know how their teams are overall, but they're probably going to have offenses that are going to be able to move the ball and put your defense in more conflict beyond 9 points. It'd be crazy to keep doing what you're doing, even coming off of a loss, or a win.
Yeah. Well, look, man. Yes, of course. And he said, the defense did enough or the offense did enough to win. Well, that's not true. The offense only did enough to win because your defense did what it did. If your defense had played just an average game or even above just a pretty good game, you lose by multiple scores again. But they played great, and good for them. They rose up. That you can't count on them to hold teams under 10 points. That's not going to happen. They've given up 21 points in the last 2 weeks, Aslan, at home, total. 21 points, 1 touchdown. And they are 1-1. They lost one of those games. And they almost lost. I mean, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like, so that's again. It's not like he's going to come out on later today at his press conference and be like, "Yeah, we're making all these wholesale changes." You kind of got to believe what you believe in. I guess you don't change your offense. Even though this kid isn't seeing it or running it nearly at the level that it needs to be effective, and you're not going to take a bunch of shots downfield. I mean, it's crazy. He took 3 deep shots. That's what he's here for. Like that, the big arm. That's what you use the big arm for. And this wasn't one of those where it was like. And that's what I tweeted at halftime. Like, that felt like the best half they'd played all season, offensively. They had 104 yards rushing, which is crazy. 104 yards passing, good balance. They converted 5 third downs, and they had 7 points. So what are we doing here? There's no big plays, very few. The running game is what it is. You have more negative plays typically in a game than you do big plays, and it's just not working. It's not clicking, and you have now 4 games, 16 quarters of proof that it's not working. It's not like it's close. Like, yeah, they were close if they don't call the choke slam on Ferguson to having an extra 7 points. Okay, well then you scored 21 points in a game. Tell me again, Aslan, what's the average scoring point total for the 67th team in the country this year in scoring offense?
30.3.
Yeah, so you're still only scoring 21. You might be the only Power 5 team in the country that hasn't scored more than 21 points in a game this season. So there might be a lot of decisions to be made after the season. We can't sit here and say that the defense is perfectly coached. We can't say the defense played perfect on Saturday. But we can sit here and say the offense is a train wreck. And it's up to the head coach, who's an offensive coach, to figure it out, to give his team. He wants his players to buy in, and they have. He wants his players to buy in and fight hard for him in this program, in the culture. Well, he needs to earn that player's buy-in by figuring out his offense, because it will get ugly if this keeps up. Again, we're coming off a win, great win. It will get ugly if the defense is down in Miami and it's 17-7 in the fourth quarter, and then Miami scores a back-breaking touchdown, and you played your ass off to keep a good offense at 17 points. But your offense can't do anything. And there will be some shouting and some discouraging words because it's human nature if your offense can't figure this out. So he needs to figure this out one way or other. Find a spark, man. Can Mekhi Danzy play? Is there any chance? All he does is score 70-yard touchdowns in practice. He can't get on the field. So we can watch the other freshmen grind out 5 yards to carry. Again, Cam, I love you. Big kid. You're going to be good. You might be awesome. You ain't it right now. And I don't understand why there's no role for the track star at running back. Not even 7 plays because what? This offense has all the answers already. And also, shout out to Jaylen Brown. He made 2 really nice first down catches. Heavily contested. Not exactly open, but DJ ripped a throw in the middle of the field, and he made 2 really nice catches to extend drives. You had all these plays where you're like, yeah, that's something to build on. That's a nice play. That's a nice play. Oh, yeah, they scored 14 points. But look around the country. Nobody else is doing this. Nobody else is doing this. So that's what's I think he's a good coach. I think he knows offense. I think he can put guys in position to succeed. And we can look at the tape all we want and say, yeah, that guy's open there. That's a really well-designed play. That guy's coming free there. If only our quarterback threw it. Well, yeah, but he's not. He's not throwing it. So try something else. Also, Morlock, catch the ball. My man, he was looking good, Aslan. That catch he had on the first touchdown drive, that's what that to me looked more like Morlock than any time all season. Like, that's the guy we see in practice where he catches a little screen pass, and you see he's not just a lumbering big kid. He's got some real tools. He's moving. He's physical. He's pretty fast. He's fast for that size. And then if he catches that ball, that's a 25-yard gain at least. Good play by DJ, one of his best plays. I don't know if it was an RPO, but it was a play action. And he stood in there and wore a hit and put it right on Morlock, didn't throw it too hard, and he dropped it. So, but that we can't. I know the last few weeks we could, complain about the drops. That was the only drop of the game. His receivers actually went out and made plays for him. Jakai's catch on 3rd down over the middle. We're not sure he was throwing to Jakai. That's a great play. That's a play of the game, really. And then Jakai making the play in the end zone. Like, his receivers were not to blame for the mess, in my opinion, on Saturday. It's this overall coaching scheme to go along with no real threat of a running game. And it's painful. It's a dentist trip. Every game is a dentist trip with the offense. But they're 1-0. You know what? They're 1-0. They were 1-0 last week, Aslan.
That's correct.
So we're covering a 1-0 football team.
By the way, Northwestern, UCLA, the only 2 other teams in Power 4 that are averaging under 21 points per game. Both averaging more than Florida State, however. So.
Yep.
It's 2024, and although the Cubs did win the World Series, nope, no flying cars. But our innovations have yielded things like phones that tell us what song's playing and televisions the size of mattresses for mere dollars. And tools to help us groom without the stresses that we had to deal with of yesteryear. We're men, we're tough and all that stuff, but some bits a little bit tender, a little bit sensitive, maybe a little bit delicate. Well, Manscaped has crafted devices to safeguard our hardware. It's called skin-safe technology. It involves the use of blades with advanced ceramics and rounded teeth. I mean, the thought of teeth near the jewels. But, hey, rounded teeth? All right, sounds safe, feels safe. Head to manscaped.com, use the promo code WARCHANT to get 20% off your order. Manscaped, like landscaped.com, promo code WARCHANT for a deep 20% discount. Manscaped.com, be him and trim. All right, so I guess, we keep saying you got to change it. You got to make a spark. It feels like, quarterbacks that last stone to be overturned. SMU, total defense 50th. They're allowing 317 yards per game. 67th in the country. They're allowing just a shade under 23 points per game. TCU just put 42 on them. They did hold BYU to only 18, but then BYU got stymied by – or no, they stomped Kansas State.
No, they stomped Kansas State, yeah.
So I don't know. Is this like the last stand then for DJ, where it's like, okay, this might have the makings? Rhett Lashley and when he was at SMU as the coordinator, and Mike and Adam were in Memphis. They had a college game day, Memphis versus SMU, and that was like a 55-something 40 game. And SMU won. Like maybe this could be the game that they think the things that they brought DJ in here for would be able to click, and then this is like the last. After this, then it's Clemson. Then after that's not too long, it's Miami. And it's real football teams, man. Like it's real scary football teams. Or do you look at that? You had 10 drives against Memphis. You scored on 3 of them. You had 11 drives against Cal, and you only scored on 2 of them. Yeah. I mean, do you look at it that way? You're like, man, we're regressing. They scored more points, and they won. But they still
scored. Yeah, they did. They scored 2 more points.
Yeah.
No. It's not. This isn't nearly good enough. But I don't know, man. Like I would have thought halftime of Memphis, you make a change. I would have thought
halftime BC, at least one series.
So no, I'm just assuming they're riding with DJ until proven otherwise. And then so maybe. And look, he wasn't horrible. He had a decent numbers game. But again, Norvell's not going to fire the play caller, and something's got to change. So, no, he's going to ride with DJ. I assume they're going to score somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 points. Maybe that'll be good enough. It is crazy, that SMU box score. SMU scored 66 points and gained like 370 yards of offense. Yeah. Like
two turnover,
they
touchdowns.
They had
defense.
A punt return for a touchdown, I think, and
Correct.
an interception and fumble return for a touchdown.
Yeah.
But
still, you take 21 away from whatever they scored. What did they score again? They scored 66.
Yeah, so they had 4. Yeah, they had 4. But it's like they didn't put up huge numbers. Like the quarterback ran for 40 yards and threw for 140. I think they ran for they ran for 200 yards, which is great. But usually when you're scoring 66 points, it looks like the James Madison box score. Like you've got 700 yards of offense, not 370. They were outgained by almost 100 yards and put up 66. But, yeah, man, I mean, heck, SMU's defense scored as much as Florida State's offense on Saturday. So you're going to have to score some points, and who knows if they will. And then, you're going to – so I'm going to be fascinated. Whether they win or lose in Dallas, you're going to be coming back. I'm going to be assuming off a not great offensive game where DJ played the majority of it or all of it. Say they lose to SMU 30-21. Are you really going to – and you're like, you know what, that's enough. I can't do it anymore. We got to change something. So Brock Glenn's first start of the season against Clemson?
Yeah, correct, right.
Great. You're setting him up for success there, Coach. But also, DJU clearly doesn't feel comfortable at all, period. He does not feel maybe he's going to be better on the road because there's not probably as much pressure on the road, weirdly, with him this year. But then he comes back. What is his mindset going to be like facing Clemson? Either Brock Glenn's going to be playing a lot against the best defense on the schedule, or DJU is going to be playing against his former team, and the amount of added pressure that's going to instill in him. So kind of a lose-lose there. It's not great that Clemson looks so good.
No.
I'll be honest with you guys. I don't give gambling advice on here for good reason. I thought NC State plus like 19.5 was an absolute lock. Especially when I saw that Peter Woods, the Clemson badass defensive lineman, wasn't going to be playing. One of their receivers was out. I'm like, come on, man. App State we're putting too much stock into that App State game by the Clemson offense. App State's defense is obviously terrible. NC State's a proud program. This is a big game for them. He's a good coach. They just put in that freshman quarterback. He gave them some life. This is going to be a 4-quarter game. And it was 28-0. I'd already lost the bet 7 minutes into the game. I was losing. With 19 points, NC State, man, great job. Keep telling us how Florida State fans should be happy they're in the ACC, and keep making fun of Florida State fans for wanting out of this conference. You have a wide open alleyway to do something finally with your program, and you look like that again. You get embarrassed by Tennessee on national television.
Their quarterback got hurt.
Sure, man. They gave up 50 points, and then they play Clemson. Maybe it's the best Clemson team of all time. I don't know. And you're down 28-0 in the blink of an eye. So don't sit there and tell us that Florida State should be. This conference sucks, and you guys are a main reason why you've never done anything ever. Ever. The only big wins you've ever had in your program's history are thanks to Florida State. What other memorable games has NC State ever won? They just do this all the time. And then North Carolina, another blue blood in the conference. Another charter member gets absolutely embarrassed by James Madison, gives up 70 points. So, yeah, again, though, make fun of Florida State for its rough start to the season, guys. You guys have had decades to do anything in this sport, and you've done nothing forever, which is why the ACC is making $40 million a year less than all these other conferences. You should be happy that Florida State's in the conference, but you're not. You're all whiny kids waiting for basketball season.
I'm bringing you some Vitamin Energy Mood Plus at the press
I know,
conference
man.
later.
I know. I do take glee in that, though, that NC State and North Carolina looked like that. That was all. And Virginia Tech lost, too. So, yeah, all the blue bloods in the ACC really holding it down. Florida State has a down year, and all of a sudden the ACC just – now Miami's the best team in the country. Great. Great. Good.
Hey,
good fun time.
Florida State tied for 7th right now in the ACC, so
They're moving up, baby.
Let's
they
go.
went from 17th to 7th.
That's correct. One dub.
Yep.
All right, we're going to go talk to the coach, all the coaches. We'll have all that over at warchant.com. Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 4 o'clock. Thanks for listening. He's Corey Mazlon. It's been Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy.